I also have a little tiny shop up in a place called Cobblestone Walk in Stenning. I'm based down here in Sussex, and I'm a linocut printmaker. So I've been asked to do a little demo as part of the Folksy Spring Market. So thanks for coming to watch, and I hope you enjoy the demo. Today I'm going to print 2 prints. I'm going to print by hand a new little print of a hedgehog, and then we're going to try and print my bigger agapanthus print in gold ink using the press. The press I've only had for a couple of weeks, so I'm still learning a little bit about using it and the pressures. So, but we'll give it a go, and we can all learn together. Just a little word that if you happen to go to my Folksy shop today, there's lots of other amazing artists on Folksy, and they're participating in the market today and got varying discounts on. For me, I've taken 10% off of all of my prints, so feel free to take a look, and hopefully you'll find something that you like. But meantime, I hope you enjoy the demo, and let's go and do some printing together. So here we are. Linocut printing basically is a process where we take lino, so it's this Hessian backed grey artist lino that I use. It's made now for artists, but it's very similar to the 1930s lino flooring. So it's made from rubber and linseed oil, and it's on this Hessian backing, and it's really nice to work with. So you have your lino, and then you transfer whatever design that you've drawn, and you transfer it in reverse onto the lino, and then with tools you carve it out. So I use these file tools, and you have U-shaped ones. This is a U-shaped one, this is a big one, just so you can see, and V-shaped tools, and with those two you carve out the lines on the block. And then you need something to press with, so I have a Baron like this one, but actually predominantly I use a great big silver tablespoon. So it came out of my grandma's house years ago. And then we need a roller. So I've got this rather nice roller which I was given for a big birthday, and so that's really nice to apply the ink, but you can get any roller to do that. And then we need our ink, so we roll the ink out onto a glass surface so that it's nice and firm to roll out on, and smooth. And you can see there I've just got the light shining across it. It was a bit annoying probably, but it gives you that slightly sort of velvety looking texture, and that's the sort of thickness of ink that you're looking for. So we roll with the roller, and it's a bit squeaky, but behind that I hope you can hear the sort of, they say it's like a sound of frying eggs and bacon. So that again tells you you've got thickness of ink. You don't want your ink too thick. This is an oil based but water soluble ink. And then we're going to go ahead and print hedgehog. So here is the hedgehog block, and he's all carved up. So with him I just turned the surface of the lino black just with a Sharpie pen, because it's a small block. You can do it with acrylic paint or whatever you want to do, and that gives you a bit of contrast when you're carving, so that you can see the marks that you're making, especially with fine marks. So yeah, you turn the grey surface of the lino to a darker colour or a bright colour, and it just makes life a bit easier when you're carving. So we're just applying the ink to the block, and just making sure we've coated every surface, and just checking with the light shining across it that there's no little specks of lino or anything adhering to the surface. And then we're going to print onto this paper, which is Japanese paper, printmaking paper. Let's see if you can see my hand through it there just with the daylight. It's really thin. It's 51 GSM paper for anyone that's interested in that. And basically then we lay the paper face down on the surface. I have this little square marked out on my plans chest all the time, just because it allows me to line up the paper. without setting that up every single time I come to print one of my standard size prints. So we just give it a rub with the finger just to make sure that it's stuck to the ink surface. And then I tend to just use the Baron at the beginning. You don't need to, but I think it just gives a little bit of even pressure across. And then we take the metal tablespoon. Some people use wooden spoons, all kinds of things. Doesn't really matter as long as it's got a smooth surface so it doesn't snag on the paper. And then we're just going to rub over the surface of the print. The nice thing about printing, especially when you're hand burnishing like this, of the thin Japanese paper or any thin printmaking paper, is that you can actually see the design come through on the other side. You can just see it faintly, and that just allows you to see that you've been over every part of the print, and that you're picking up the detail. Obviously there's different styles that go with linocut, like any sort of art. People have their own style, and so sometimes people are, the style of the print is much more loose, and they like the different tones and textures, and I really admire people for that, because I spend my whole time wishing maybe that my style was a little looser, and then I'm sure people think the other way as well. Anyway, so we're rubbing over the surface of the print, just making sure that we're picking up the ink evenly, that we're seeing every part of that surface printed, and then we'll just have a little pass go around the edge, and then you have the nice bit, which is just making sure that you've caught the print and lifting up to just reveal the little hedgehog. So there he is. And I'm quite happy with him. This is the first time I've printed him properly. Printed a few little proofs along the way when I did the block just onto normal printing paper, just to make sure that his tones were kind of right. But I think he's come out reasonably well. So there he is, Hedgehog, a linocut print in raw umber ink on Japanese printmaking paper. So now we're going to use the press to print my agapanthus print, and this print is onto a thicker paper than we used before, onto coloured papers, and it's printed in gold ink, which is really nice. So I'll show you that in a second. So the press is from Iron Bridge Printmakers, and it's a lovely little press, but I've only just had it for a couple of weeks now, and I've been redoing the studio, so I haven't had a lot of time to use it. So I'm just getting used to her. Her name's Martha, and she prints up to A3 size. So we're going to try today and print agapanthus. So I'm just going to go and prepare some ink. So I'm just going to ink up the block for agapanthus with the gold ink. And don't want too thick a layer of ink, because obviously the press is able to apply lots of force to the surface. I do want to make sure that I catch the edges. Just making sure we've got a nice layer of ink on. So now we're just going to pop our paper onto the inked up block. So this press has a nice little registration bed, which means that you can see that you're lining up print and the paper. And pop that down onto there, just smooth it down, just to make sure that it's adhered a little bit to the block. And then we just use a block of paper over the top, and that just brings it up and allows the roller to apply the right pressure to the paper. So we fixed all that beforehand. And then we're just going to roll the print through the press. So this is the time I get to use my muscles a little bit. I'm just going to pull it all the way through so I can just see the end of the paper on the other side. So here we are on the other side of the press. We're just going to lift the paper block off. And then we're just going to lift the paper and reveal the print. Actually, that gives you a better sense of how shiny and beautiful the ink is, I guess. You can see it shining on the block there as well. So there we are. Try not to be too wobbly. Well, that gives you a better sense of the golden glow of the ink. So there we are. So that was agapanthus printed using the press. Hi there, hope you enjoyed the printmaking demo of hedgehog and agapanthus, and I hope you enjoy the folksy spring market.